present as a llama. So what I want to know is if I have a family member who presents as a llama, suddenly becomes ill in the middle of the night, do they send for a doctor, a vet, or a straitjacket?
Mr. Speaker, I can just say to the honourable member that my honourable friend, the Minister for Public Health, believes in treating every human being with the dignity and respect they deserve, even the honourable gentleman.
The Labour MP's mockery of British history during the debate was also perceived as a sign of deeper cultural tensions within the UK. To many viewers, it represented a betrayal not just of political principles but of a shared heritage and identity. British history, with its centuries of struggle, empire building, and the forging of a national character, is cherished by many citizens. When a politician appeared to ridicule these sentiments, it struck a nerve and prompted widespread condemnation. The episode raised important questions about how British history is understood and represented in modern political discourse. Critics argued that mocking British history or dismissing its significance undermines national cohesion and fuels divisions. Supporters of the Labour MP, however, suggested that his comments reflected a more progressive view that questions traditional narratives and seeks to engage with history critically. This clash of perspectives reflects a wider debate in British society about identity, heritage, and the future direction of the country. In an era of globalization and rapid change, how Britain balances its past with its aspirations for the future remains a contentious and emotionally charged issue. The debate was not confined to questions of history and sovereignty, it also touched on the practicalities of governance and diplomacy. The presence of Spanish border officials in Gibraltar was framed by proponents as a necessary adaptation to the realities of Brexit and a way to maintain peace and stability in the region. Gibraltar, a strategic territory with a complex history of British-Spanish relations, has long been a flashpoint for diplomatic tension. The recent deal was thus seen by some as a pragmatic step to avoid conflict and ensure smooth operations. Yet, the deal also highlighted the difficult balancing act faced by the UK government. On the one hand, it had to honour the democratic mandate of Brexit and reassure voters that sovereignty was being respected. On the other hand, it needed to navigate the realities of geographic proximity and the EU's continued influence on border and trade matters. The decision to allow Spanish officials to operate at Gibraltar's ports was an attempt to find a workable solution, but it came at the cost of provoking accusations of betrayal and sellout. The live television debate brought these tensions into sharp relief, illustrating the complexities and contradictions inherent in modern British politics. It showcased how deeply personal and emotional issues of identity and sovereignty can become when discussed in the public arena. Viewers were left grappling not only with the specifics of the Gibraltar deal but also with broader questions about trust, leadership, and the future of the UK. Adding to the controversy was the fact that many felt the British public had been kept in the dark about the details of the agreement. The perceived secrecy and lack of consultation fueled suspicions that the government was making deals behind closed doors that did not reflect the will of the people. This perceived opacity fed into a wider narrative of political disillusionment and cynicism. Beyond the immediate controversy over Gibraltar, the debate also touched on other political developments in the UK. Observers noted that the divisions exposed by the Gibraltar issue mirror wider fractures within British politics. The tension between nationalist sentiments and globalist approaches, between sovereignty and cooperation, continues to shape debates across multiple policy areas. In the wake of the televised debate, public discourse intensified. Commentators and analysts debated the merits and pitfalls of the Gibraltar Agreement, the role of Labour MPs in the controversy, and the broader implications for British politics. The episode became a focal point for discussions about what it means to be British in the 21st century and how the country should navigate its complex relationships with neighbours and allies. The Labour MP's remarks, widely seen as mocking and dismissive, prompted calls from some quarters for greater respect for British history and patriotism in political discourse. Others argued that politics must move beyond nostalgia and confront current realities with honesty and pragmatism. This divide reflects the broader cultural and political challenges the UK faces as it redefines its identity post-Brexit. Social media played a crucial role in amplifying the controversy. Clips of the debate were shared thousands of times, sparking heated debates online. Supporters of the MP defended his stance as realistic and forward-looking, while detractors lambasted him for what they saw as disrespect and betrayal. The incident also highlighted the power of live television as a platform for political theatre. The raw emotions, spontaneous remarks, and immediate public reaction created a dynamic that traditional news coverage often lacks. It revealed how moments of political drama can shape public opinion and influence the national conversation. Meanwhile, within Westminster, the debate over Gibraltar and Labour's position continued to provoke internal discussions. Party members and MPs grappled with how to respond to public outrage while maintaining a coherent policy stance. The tension between appealing to traditional Labour voters and addressing contemporary geopolitical challenges added complexity to the party's strategy. Critics of Labour seized upon the incident to argue that the party was out of touch with the British public's values and concerns. They suggested that Labour's approach risked alienating patriotic voters and weakening the party's standing in future elections. For these critics, the controversy underscored the need for Labour to reconnect with its base and articulate a clear vision that honours British identity and sovereignty. At the same time, supporters of Labour argued that the party was navigating difficult waters in a rapidly changing political landscape. They pointed out that the realities of Brexit and international diplomacy required nuanced solutions that sometimes involved compromise. They contended that accusing Labour of mocking history was a mischaracterization and that the party remained committed to protecting British interests in a complex world. The Gibraltar debate thus became a microcosm of broader national debates about identity, sovereignty, and the future direction of the UK. It exposed fault lines within and between political parties and highlighted the challenges of governing in an era marked by division and uncertainty. In the weeks following the debate, public opinion polls indicated a mixed response. While some Britons remained deeply concerned about the sovereignty issue and Labour's role, others accepted the deal as a necessary step forward. Political analysts noted that the controversy around Gibraltar was just one facet of a much larger debate over Britain's place in the world after Brexit, and the struggle within political parties to balance patriotism with pragmatism. The incident also reignited discussions about the role of politicians in respecting and preserving national history. Many commentators argued that public figures bear a responsibility to honour the collective memory and identity of the nation, especially on sensitive issues like sovereignty and territorial integrity. The Labour MP's remarks were seen by critics as symptomatic of a broader cultural disconnect between some political elites and the public they serve. This perceived disconnect has fed into a growing narrative of mistrust and disillusionment with the political class, which many voters feel no longer represents their interests or values. In this context, moments like the Gibraltar debate become flashpoints, sparking intense emotional responses that go far beyond the immediate policy issues. The issue also highlighted the complexities of modern sovereignty. In an interconnected world, the traditional notion of absolute control over borders and territories is increasingly challenged by international agreements, trade relationships, and security concerns. The Gibraltar deal was emblematic of these challenges, forcing politicians and voters alike to reconsider what sovereignty means in practical terms. For many in Gibraltar itself, the debate was deeply personal. The territory's residents have historically maintained a strong British identity and have repeatedly expressed their desire to remain under British sovereignty. The presence of Spanish officials at their borders was viewed by some as an encroachment and a threat to their autonomy. This added another layer of tension to an already fraught situation. In response to the public outcry, government officials and supporters of the deal sought to reassure the public that the arrangement was carefully negotiated to protect British interests while facilitating smoother cross-border movement. They emphasized that the Chief Minister of Gibraltar had publicly endorsed the agreement and that it was designed to avoid the economic and social disruption that a hard border would entail. However, these reassurances did little to quell the anger of critics, who accused the government of prioritizing political expediency over principles. The Labour MP's apparent ridicule of British patriotism only deepened this perception, reinforcing fears that national identity was being sacrificed for political convenience. The debate also revealed deep ideological divides within the Labour Party itself. While some members expressed support for the deal as a pragmatic solution, others voiced concerns about its impact on sovereignty and the party's relationship with its traditional voter base. This internal tension reflected broader questions about Labour's direction in a post-Brexit Britain. Political analysts noted that Labour's position on Gibraltar and similar issues could influence the party's performance in upcoming elections. The challenge for Labour was to articulate a coherent and compelling vision that balanced respect for national identity with the realities of contemporary governance. Beyond Labour, the controversy offered ammunition to political rivals who sought to portray the party as out of touch or unpatriotic. Conservative MPs and other opposition figures used the debate to criticise Labour's leadership and question its commitment to British interests. This political manoeuvring further heightened the stakes of the issue. Public reactions to the televised debate highlighted the power of media in shaping political narratives. The live broadcast format captured the raw emotions and confrontations in a way that traditional reporting often cannot, making the controversy more immediate and visceral for viewers. Social media amplified these effects, enabling rapid dissemination and discussion of the debate's key moments. The incident also sparked broader conversations about how the UK manages its overseas territories and the delicate balance between autonomy and sovereignty. Gibraltar's unique status has long posed challenges for British policymakers, who must navigate complex historical grievances and contemporary geopolitical realities. Looking ahead, the Gibraltar issue is likely to remain a contentious topic in British politics. The delicate balance of maintaining sovereignty while engaging with neighbouring countries and international bodies will require careful diplomacy and clear communication with the public. For Labour, the episode serves as a reminder of the importance of connecting with voters' values and concerns. The backlash against the MP's comments underscores the risks of alienating patriotic sentiment and highlights the need for respectful engagement with Britain's history and identity. At the heart of the controversy lies a fundamental question facing the UK: how to reconcile its proud historical legacy with the demands of a changing world. The Gibraltar debate, with its emotional intensity and political implications, exemplifies this challenge in stark terms. As Britain continues to navigate its post-Brexit future, debates like this will test the resilience of its democratic institutions and the strength of its national identity. The incident involving the Labour MP's remarks on live television may well be remembered as a pivotal moment in this ongoing conversation. In conclusion, the outrage sparked by the Labour MP's mockery of British history during the live debate on Gibraltar sovereignty reflects deeper tensions within the UK. It reveals a nation grappling with issues of identity, sovereignty, and the legacy of Brexit. The passionate reactions from viewers and politicians alike highlight the enduring importance of history and patriotism in British public life, even as the country confronts new challenges in an interconnected world. The debate underscored the need for political leaders to engage respectfully with the public's concerns and to navigate complex international issues with both pragmatism and principle. It also illuminated the potential pitfalls of political rhetoric that dismisses or undermines cherished national narratives. Ultimately, the Gibraltar controversy is a microcosm of broader struggles within British society and politics. How the UK addresses these issues will shape its future direction and define its place on the world stage for years to come. The intense reaction to the Labour MP's comments must also be understood against the backdrop of the UK's broader political climate. Since the 2016 Brexit referendum, British politics has been characterised by fierce debates over sovereignty, national identity, and the country's relationship with Europe and the wider world. The Gibraltar issue, while specific, touches on all these core themes, making it a lightning rod for public and political frustrations. For many Britons, Brexit was about reclaiming control over borders, laws, and the nation's destiny. Gibraltar, as a British overseas territory with a unique position on the European continent, symbolises those concerns. The idea that Spanish officials would have any jurisdiction at Gibraltar's borders is seen by many as an affront to the very principle of sovereignty that Brexit supporters championed. The Labour MP's apparent dismissal of these concerns during the live debate not only angered voters but also exposed a fault line within the party. Labour, traditionally seen as a champion of working-class and patriotic values, has struggled to reconcile its pro-European elements with the demands of a post-Brexit electorate. The MP's comments seem to many to reinforce the narrative that some in Labour are disconnected from the patriotic sentiments of many of their traditional supporters. This perceived disconnect has been a challenge for Labour's leadership, which has been trying to rebuild trust with voters who feel alienated after years of political upheaval. The Gibraltar debate brought these challenges into sharp relief, showcasing how sensitive issues of sovereignty and national pride remain potent in British politics. The debate underscored the need for political leaders to engage respectfully with the public's concerns and to navigate complex international issues with both pragmatism and principle. It also illuminated the potential pitfalls of political rhetoric that dismisses or undermines cherished national narratives. Ultimately, the Gibraltar controversy is a microcosm of broader struggles within British society and politics. How the UK addresses these issues will shape its future direction and define its place on the world stage for years to come. The intense reaction to the Labour MP's comments must also be understood against the backdrop of the UK's broader political climate. Since the 2016 Brexit referendum, British politics has been characterised by fierce debates over sovereignty, national identity, and the country's relationship with Europe and the wider world. The Gibraltar issue, while specific, touches on all these core themes, making it a lightning rod for public and political frustrations. For many Britons, Brexit was about reclaiming control over borders, laws, and the nation's destiny. Gibraltar, as a British overseas territory with a unique position on the European continent, symbolises those concerns. The idea that Spanish officials would have any jurisdiction at Gibraltar's borders is seen by many as an affront to the very principle of sovereignty that Brexit supporters championed. The Labour MP's apparent dismissal of these concerns during the live debate not only angered voters but also exposed a fault line within the party. Labour, traditionally seen as a champion of working-class and patriotic values, has struggled to reconcile its pro-European elements with the demands of a post-Brexit electorate. The MP's comments seem to many to reinforce the narrative that some in Labour are disconnected from the patriotic sentiments of many of their traditional supporters. This perceived disconnect has been a challenge for Labour's leadership, which has been trying to rebuild trust with voters who feel alienated after years of political upheaval. The Gibraltar debate brought these challenges into sharp relief, showcasing how sensitive issues of sovereignty and national pride remain potent in British politics. Moreover, the government's handling of the Gibraltar Agreement has opened up questions about transparency and democratic accountability. Critics argue that the deal was struck behind closed doors, with insufficient consultation with the people of Gibraltar and the British public. This has fueled accusations that the government prioritizes diplomatic expediency and international relations over the will of the people. The situation in Gibraltar also highlights the geopolitical complexities the UK faces in the post-Brexit era. While maintaining good relations with European neighbours remains crucial, especially in terms of trade and security, the UK must balance these interests with the protection of its territories and national sovereignty. Gibraltar's location at the crossroads of the Mediterranean and its status as a strategic naval base make it a vital asset, not just symbolically but practically. The backlash from the public and politicians alike demonstrates how sensitive and complicated these negotiations can be. For many, sovereignty is not just a matter of legal status but a deeply emotional issue tied to identity and history. In the days following the debate, public discourse was dominated by social media campaigns and opinion pieces condemning the Labour MP's remarks. Many viewers expressed their frustration that elected officials would mock what they see as fundamental British values. The incident also sparked a broader conversation about the tone and conduct of political debates, with calls for greater respect and seriousness when discussing issues that matter deeply to citizens. At the same time, some commentators urged for a more nuanced understanding of the realities of modern governance. They pointed out that rigid adherence to traditional notions of sovereignty might hinder practical solutions to complex problems like cross-border cooperation, trade, and security. The Gibraltar deal, from this perspective, was an attempt to find a workable compromise that preserves the territory's prosperity and security while adapting to new geopolitical realities. Nonetheless, this pragmatic view has struggled to gain traction among a public wary of perceived concessions. The memory of decades-long disputes between the UK and Spain over Gibraltar's status remains fresh in many minds, and the symbolic weight of the territory means that any change is heavily scrutinised. The incident also brought into focus the role of the media in shaping public understanding and political narratives. The live broadcast of the debate, along with the rapid spread of clips and commentary online, intensified the emotional response and amplified the sense of crisis. This reflects a broader trend in contemporary politics where moments of high drama can quickly become defining episodes, influencing public opinion and party fortunes. For Labour, the fallout from the debate has prompted internal reflection about messaging and strategy. The party faces the dual challenge of respecting its pro-European heritage while acknowledging the nationalist sentiments that have gained prominence in recent years. Finding a balance between these competing impulses will be critical for Labour's future electoral success. The Gibraltar controversy also plays into the ongoing debate about the UK's global role. As the country seeks to redefine itself outside the European Union, questions about sovereignty, security, and international alliances take on new urgency. The negotiation and management of territories like Gibraltar will be seen as a test case for Britain's ability to maintain its influence and uphold its values on the world stage. In the months ahead, it is likely that Gibraltar will remain a flashpoint in UK politics. As new agreements are implemented and their effects felt on the ground, the government will need to manage expectations and address the concerns of both the people of Gibraltar and the wider British public. Ultimately, the Labour MP's mockery during the live debate was more than a gaffe. It was a moment that crystallised the tensions and challenges facing the UK in this new era. It revealed the emotional stakes involved in debates over sovereignty and identity, the political divisions within major parties, and the complexities of governance in a changing world. As the UK moves forward, the lessons from this episode will resonate widely. They serve as a reminder that issues of national identity and sovereignty are not merely abstract political concepts but deeply felt realities that shape the lives and loyalties of millions. The public's reaction to the debate underscores a desire for political leaders who can engage sincerely and respectfully with these issues, bridging divides rather than deepening them. It also highlights the importance of transparency, accountability, and clear communication in maintaining trust between the government and its citizens. In the end, the Gibraltar debate, and the controversy surrounding the Labour MP's comments, serve as a microcosm of the broader struggles facing the UK today. They encapsulate the challenges of navigating sovereignty in a globalised world, the fractures within political parties, and the enduring power of national identity in British public life.